Welcome to Edupedia World Grade 10 Computer Science Video Lecture Series. I am Upeka Vandibono and this is the last episode in our course, and today we are talking about comments in C++. For all the programming languages, there is something in common, and that is called comment. The symbol may be different for each programming language, but the purpose is the same. In C++, it offers two comment styles to allow the programmer to say things that are not well expressed as the code. The two types are single-line comments and multi-line comments. We first look at what is called single-line comments. Here is an example for a single line comment. You can see we have used two forward slashes at the starting point to mention that line is a comment. Then the compiler would ignore everything which are after these two forward slashes. Here is another example. In this line it got a code part as well as a comment part. The compiler will execute the cout part by printing out the letter A at the console and ignore the comment part, the things which are after the two forward slashes. Now, why we say it's a single line comment? That is because it only considers the things which are in that same line after the two forward slashes. Okay, now let's move on to the next one, multi-line comments. In this comment style, you can spread your comment into several lines. You can see that in this example, the comment start with a forward slash and an asterisk mark, and the comment end with a asterisk mark and a forward slash. So whatever inside this block, consider as a multi-line comment. Even though C++ offers different notations for single line comment and multi-line comment, most of the people prefer the single line comment even for the multi-line comments. For example, in the top part, it displays how you can use single line comment notation to represent a multi-line comment, and the bottom part it represent using of multi-line comment style for represent a single line comment. So you do not need to stick into the relevant notation style. You can use the notation styles the way you prefer. Okay, now the most important part, how an IDE supports to write comments. In most of the IDEs, when you create a new file, it will automatically generate the necessary comments. For example, name of the author of the program and the date file created, and it will leave a space to write what the program does. So such kind of relevant information automatically generated as comments. And also most of the IDEs provide a shortcut key to mention something is a comment. Now I'm going to show you this using the NetBeans IDE. Okay, now this is my NetBeans IDE. I'm going to show you how NetBeans IDE automatically generate the necessary comments when you create a new file. So in here I'm going to create a new C++ main file. I'll name it as new main1 and click the finish button. You can see in here this part is shown as a comment. It's a multi-line comment. The forward slash, asterisk mark, and that asterisk mark and the forward slash. So all the part in between is considered as a comment. It mentions the name of the file, the author of this file, and the date created. Now in here, it leaves me a space to write what this program does. So I'm going to say, when I'm pressing the enter key, you can see it automatically generates this asterisk mark to make it more user friendly. Okay, so likewise this NetBeans IDE automatically generate the necessary comment parts in a program. Okay, now in that file I have written a program. In this program, under the main function, the first line says to output the letter A at the console, And then here we got a single line comment. In this comment it says what this line does. Now in the second line it calls the my function. Inside the my function it will output the letter C at the console. Now back to the main function. The third line it will output the letter B at the console and the program ends. Now let's see whether this program works. Yes, it output the letter A, the letter C under the main function and the letter B. Now you can see this single line comment as well as all the other comments did not affect the operation of the program. They are just only for the developer to look at. Now imagine you do not need these two lines to be executed just for now. You cannot delete them because you need them later. In such kind of a situation, comment the lines you do not need. Because if we comment them, then it will not compile. To make a comment for already existed line, what you need to do is select the lines you need them as comment and then press the Control key with the / key. You can see when I'm pressing the Control key and the / key, the selected lines were commented. Okay, now I'm going to save this file and execute it. You can see only the letter A is printed because the two lines, my function line and the cout line for the letter B, is now commented. So they are no longer being executed. Now if we want to remove these comments, two comments, what you need to do is select the two lines that we have already commented and press the Control with the / key. You can see the two comments were removed but the lines were remained. Okay, now rather than giving a readable understanding about the program for the developer using the comments, there is another purpose behind the comments. To show you that, I'm going to say what this my function do using a single line comment. This function will output letter C. So using a single line comment, I have written what this function do. Now I'm going to call this my function again under the cout of the letter B. So when I'm typing my function, I want a quick suggestion from the NetBeans IDE. In the NetBeans IDE, by pressing the Control with the space key, you can see the quick suggestions given by the NetBeans IDE what you are going to type. So here it gives the quick suggestion of my function and it will shows you the comment part that I had written about the my function, just about the my function. So the quick suggestion says this function will output letter C. That is the exact thing I had written about the my function. So that is another usage of the comments. And remember to write the comment just about the function. Now same could be done for the variables. For example, inside the my function, I am going to create a new int variable as count with the initial value 0. And as the third line, I am trying to use this variable count. After pressing the three letters C or U, I am going to use the quick suggestion option of the NetBeans. Now it says no documentation found because I hadn't written any comment for the variable. I didn't describe what this variable count is. So at the side, I'm going to use a single line comment and say what is this variable count. I had say variable for counting. Now I'm going to use the quick suggestion option for the letters C or U, and here it mentions my comment variable for counting. Now for the variables, remember you can use the comments in the side as well as just above. Okay, now before winding up, I will tell you the importance of comments. Here I'm going to look at that in two aspects, as a line ignored by the compiler and for the purpose of documentation. The first one, as a line ignored by the compiler. Here it will keep the line for later use. If you do not need a certain code part just for the moment, then you can comment it, and again you can uncomment it. And the next thing, make it visible what has changed. Rather than removing a code part, it is better to make it as a comment, because in a later time you may need it, or else you may need to check what the modification is. Comments make easy for trying trial and errors. When you're writing a program and you need to do trial and errors, comments come into your fullest support. You do not need to delete anything. You can just comment the code and try, until you comes into a perfect code. Now, if you look at the documentation aspect of the comments, it improves the readability, understandability of the program with a quick glance. You do not need to go through all of the code part of the program. You just can read the comment. And the next advantage is comfortable for other developers. As the author of a program, if you have mentioned what the program does and what each variable is used for and what each method is performing, then we call that program a well-documented program. When other developers refer such kind of a well-documented program, they do not need to contact the original author of the program. They can quickly go through the comment lines and read them and understand what the program does and what each method is used for. So due to these reasons, it is much important to make your program a well-documented program. So with that, we are going to end up this episode. In this episode, we have discussed how we can create comments in C++. There are two styles, single line comment and multiple line comments. As this is the final episode of this course, Computer Science Grade 10, I'll quickly summarize what we did all through this course. In the first part, we talked about logic. There we talked about basic logic gate, combination and Boolean algebra, simplification of the expressions, and propositional logic. In the second part, we talked about binary numbering systems, and with that we learned the conversion with other numbering systems such like hexadecimal and octal. And in the third part, we talked about algorithms and optimization of the algorithms. In the fourth part, we talked about C++ programming, and as the final episode, we talked about how to create a perfect program with perfect documentation. We hope you had enjoyed it. Thank you for watching, and see you again in another new course through Edupedia World.